Well, good morning. I'm sitting here still drinking coffee. I started about 4:30 this morning. I thought we'd make another cup. And I love this cup. My wife got this for me. It is, not only is it flannel plaid color, which is my favorite, but it's a reminder to me. See, today's going to be a good day. Do you know how I know that? And I have to tell myself this every day. Because it's what I chose. Today, and it's hanging up in our house here, I choose joy. That's a conscious thing. There's some days it's harder than others, but it's what I do. It helps me, excuse me, while I take another sip. We'll give just a moment for people to jump on. But as always, share this video with anybody. People do not have to be part of our hospice or have been a patient or a family member of one of our patients or anything to take part in any of the grief support. This is for anybody. By the way, if you don't know me, I'm Bob. I'm chaplain for Blue Water Hospice and bereavement support. And I know every once in a while we like to jump on here and just stay in touch. Someday, this pandemic stuff is going to be over and we're going to be able to meet in person. We're getting close. It's just our county right now is so bad with new cases of the virus. So I anticipate this is going to break fairly soon, and we'll be able to get face to face pretty soon. But I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this, because you can come back and watch the whole thing later as many times you want, or share it. That's the advantage of this type of technology. You don't have to miss it. It's not like I have anything really spectacular to say. As awesome as I think I am, I don't know that it's that spectacular, but what it does is keeps us in connection and in communication with each other. Maybe give you some ideas. You glean what you can, absorb what is useful, to quote Bruce Lee. To quote me, chew the hay and spit out the sticks. So whatever good you take and use. But I had an idea this morning. And it started off remembering when I first got my very first microwave oven. This is back, this was back in the 70s when these things were really just becoming available. And I forget the amount of money we spent our life savings on, a mini microwave, because it was so cool. I remember getting it home. I was so excited about this new microwave oven. I put a cup of water in it. I wanted to see this thing. And within a minute, this water was hot. And I realized a whole new world was now open to me. I had this new power at my fingertips, and there was nothing I couldn't do. That's what I felt like. Now, you can't get by. You can't get by without one. But I did learn a few things through trial and error that are a bad idea to try to cook in a microwave. And I'm going to go through a couple of these. And you can take my advice, or you can try this yourself. I'm going to say you've already tried some of these things. So the first thing, which I think is the absolute worst, right up there in the top three anyway, to cook in the microwave, hard-boiled eggs. Yeah, try to do that in the microwave. Why? They explode, and eggs stink. So not only will you ruin your egg, it's gonna be a messy thing. So that's a bad idea. You ever try to microwave a turkey, a frozen turkey? I used to be a manager for the company that owned Birchwood Mall, and we ran the mall, and we're going back to the early 90s, and we had a Christmas party we were doing for the employees, and we had ordered the turkey to be delivered, thinking it was going to be cooked. So 20 minutes before the party starts, the turkey was delivered. It was frozen. Talk about panic. We had all these people here. We're not going to send them hungry. So we had a couple of microwaves going, trying to do frozen turkey. Now, eventually, we got it heated up so it was hot, cooked. Man, it was nasty. Turkey, chicken to cook in the microwave, yeah, it's just going to be like the sole of your tennis shoe. Bad idea. Fish. You ever do fish in a microwave? Now, I'm going to go back many, 40 years ago. I was cooking in a restaurant. People would order, this broiled cod, and I just put some lemon over it, some lemon pepper, put cellophane over it, put it in the microwave. There you go. You got your broiled cod. It is nasty. In fact, if you've ever tried to take fish to warm it up to cook it at the office, you will find out how unhappy that makes everybody else in that office, because it is just nasty, and it is going to be smelly. It's going to be rubbery. It's not the best way to cook it. Now, here's another idea that I suggest you don't try. Cooking chilies, chili peppers. Do not ever try to do this, because when you microwave a chili, it vaporizes the capsaicin in it. Now, capsaicin, you've probably heard, even topical ointments, you can get capsaicin. And that's really what's in it, is chili pepper, because it'll stimulate blood circulation at that part. And you'll put it on your knee. Your knee's going to feel real warm, and it actually does do a good job. But the microwave vaporizes the capsaicin inside that chili, and the microwave then becomes, while it's cooking, becomes filled with chili gas. So imagine opening the door to the microwave and having chili gas hit you. Yeah, it's like you just got maced. Bad idea. Steak. I don't know if anyone besides me has tried these. I don't know why I've had these great ideas that turned out not to be so great. Steak. No, never. Don't cook steak in the microwave. You might as well, if you're going to do that, you might as well do what my wife does and put ketchup on a good porterhouse steak. That's somehow, I believe that's a sin. I don't. But steak, if you do that in your microwave, it is going to come out like your truck tire. It's going to be so tough. Here's a good one. Spaghetti sauce. Now, be honest, we've all done it. And what happens? It bubbles up and spits, and the inside of your microwave is going to look like a murder scene in there that you're going to have to. I know this isn't where you think this was going this morning, but it's a bad idea, and I can say that because you relate, and I'm sure that you've done that, or tomato sauce. Here's the reality. No one ever invites friends over and says, come on, having everybody over on Sunday, we're going to light the microwave. No, because microwave is convenient. It's great for heating up stuff, and I know there are certain things that you can cook in it that are okay. I get these little rice packets, and they're fine. It's not as good as doing it on the stove, but for the convenience, it's great. But you're not going to invite company over to sit around and watch the microwave. Now, one thing that the microwave is good for it, I should have recorded this, that we do on Easter, and I think I mentioned this before, is we do Peeps Wars. Peeps Wars, where you set, everybody competes against each other, so you take two people, you choose your peep, the little marshmallow treats, because nothing says he is risen like little yellow marshmallow birds. And you set them on a paper plate and you put a toothpick in it like it's jousting. And then you place it on your on the plate wherever you want. You put them in the microwave, you turn on the microwave. As the microwave's going, it doesn't take very long. These things expand and they start to move on the plate. And one of them will poke the other, and that's the winner. In fact, if you YouTube Peep Wars, you'll see all kinds of stuff just to waste your day on. But it's good. It's good fun. But it's very convenient, the microwave. It's not great for cooking. It's good for getting stuff hot in a hurry. There is a difference. Now, if you care at all about taste and texture and anything like that about cooking, we live in a culture that wants to quickly, conveniently move past grief as if it were some type of an obstacle to get over. We want to be done with it. We want to put it in the microwave for 60 seconds, be done with it, and move on. You can get it hot. You may be able to bury it down a little bit, but grief doesn't work like that. Here's the truth. For people who have experienced grief, they often ask this question: what's normal? Am I normal? I don't know what's normal. What's normal might not be the best. I'll give you an example. When I become, well, I'm already a senior citizen, believe that or not, but I don't take the discount when I go into McDonald's. I've got my pride yet. When I'm very elderly, I don't want to be normal. Normal for an elderly person is you're going to have no energy, you're going to be tired, you're going to be sick all the time, you're going to have all these aches and pains. That's what's normal. I don't want to be normal. I want to be totally well. For me to do that, I have to make choices today so that those type of things aren't my normal. If I want a good harvest tomorrow, I got to plant the right seeds today. See, right now where you're at, I'm taking a side note here, bunny trails. You are, today, as you are right there watching, you are the sum total of every seed you've ever planted. You want a better harvest tomorrow? Well, you start planting some better seeds today and doing some better things. But that's just a little bonus. I don't want to get preachy on you. But I don't want to be normal. But so what is normal in the grief process? What most people go through is, the truth is, you're going to feel off for a very, very long time. That is normal. And I don't want to go through all the things that are the norms for people, because what may be normal for me or my normal may not be the same. My process may be different. But we have to remember, it is a process, not a microwavable obstacle that we can just hit the button and get over real quick. It will not work like that correctly. In fact, because we know that it's a process, one of the worst things that people do is try to interrupt that process. Let me give you an example. Back in my old Marine Corps days, back in the 70s, one of the schools I went to was a firefighting school. And we learned back then that for a fire to exist, there has to be 3 things available to it: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Those all have to be present for a fire to exist. If you remove any one of those things, that fire cannot exist. If I remove the fuel, take the wood out of a campfire, there's nothing to burn. That's the fuel, to make it simply. If I remove the oxygen, you can use some of the fire extinguishers or fire products that they use will blanket the fire, like with a foam or something like that. So it starves the fire of the oxygen. The heat and the fuel are still there, but without that one component, it can't exist. Or you use a fire extinguisher that freezes it, a CO2 fire extinguisher. So that removes the heat. So you take any one of those components away, that fire cannot exist. We try to remove components away from the grieving process. That's normal for us to do. But if you interrupt that process and don't let it do its work, which it is created in you to do, that process that God put in you to help you heal, then it'll be incomplete. And you may not deal with it today, but you'll deal with it down the road. It's grieving process needs things to be successful that cannot be removed. Give you some examples. Grieving time. And grief needs time. Can't rush it. You've heard me say before that time heals all, which is true, but healing takes time. You can't rush it. If you take that component away, the process is interrupted and you're not dealing with it. You won't get the healing benefit. It needs your attention. We want to, and I say we because these are things that I've noticed that I've done. We want to distract ourselves from the grief. You've seen people, maybe you've tried to do this yourself. I know that I have. I'll get busy. I'll try to keep busy because, and this is something that, you know, even with my dad, when Mom left, they were married for 66 years. They were each other's life. And Dad would sit home just looking at the four walls, and so he would get busy doing projects, or he lives up in Houghton Lake, so whatever he would do to be a distraction. Well, if you distract yourself too much, and there are times that you do need to do that. You may wake up and, you know, today's just too hard. I need to do something for self-care. And there are times for that. But if you do it too much and if you go on, it's not healthy. It's like time. You're removing that out of the process, the heat, fuel, and oxygen that's needed. So don't try to keep busy. Don't try to distract. Grief needs your attention, your awareness. Because that's what happens when you give yourself the third thing that grief needs. It needs your permission. Grief may in some ways force itself on you, but it needs your permission to be able to deal with it in a healthy way. And I'll tell you this story. You've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. When I'd lost my nephew, little boy, just lovely kid. And after we're done with all the funeral stuff and all that, you know, a few days later, I'm in my backyard floating in my above ground swimming pool that we had. And I remember the ice cream truck coming through the neighborhood, you know, and you hear those bells, so you know it's the ice cream truck. And I remember that sound just annoyed me beyond end. And I had the thought, I want to go punch that guy. Here's where the awareness came in. I realized it's like something, because I was allowing myself to grieve, that light bulb went on. And I said this out loud to myself, Bob, this is the anger part that's coming out like this. I like ice cream. There's nothing funner than going out, you know, if I'm around the ice cream truck and there's kids out there, I'm buying them stuff just because it's such a fun experience. There's nothing wrong with that. It had nothing to do with the ice cream truck or the ice cream. This was my anger just manifesting itself. I gave myself permission to feel that anger, which created an awareness. Once I had the awareness, I was able to realize this is what this is. And I could deal with it. And I could allow all the parts of that healing process. And it does take a very long time. When I think back, I'll always miss them. There will always be something missing there. But I want to sort of close with this thought. And you'll get it. Death ends a life, that's for certain. It does not end a relationship. And you know that because you've experienced it and are experiencing it yourself. The relationship is going to go on. It's changed forms a little bit. But so give yourself the time to grieve. Give yourself and the grief the attention it needs. And give yourself permission. I don't care what anyone feels around you. If they feel uncomfortable because you're grieving, and they will, because they don't know how to handle it and it's uncomfortable. They want you to be feeling good so they don't have to deal with it. Don't worry about that. Give yourself permission, time, attention, and permission. When you do that, you have the heat, the fuel, and the oxygen that's needed, and grief can continue and complete its healing process, because death ends life, but not the relationship. So I hope we've given you a tidbit of something to think about anyway. You can always call the hospice home and ask for me. Be glad to talk to you. Also, a great person to call is Cindy. She's our bereavement coordinator. To call and talk to her. She has some great perspectives and a lot of experience in this area, and could offer a lot of help. And if you get bored and you've got nothing to do, you can feel free to just come over and visit me, because I'm going to microwave some sardines. Hey, peace.